Yo, how are we?
We're doing great. So to set the stage, the Arbitrary Show Part Two, my version of the random show, a la Tim Ferriss. I been really wanting to do this, since we did it a year and a few months ago, right? It was like
Sounds about right.
December 23. We did kind of like a wrap up the season, look forward to what we want to accomplish in the next year, which I thought was fantastic. We did it live. This is the good part about doing it remotely is we'll actually both be on video. But check out the new swag. You like the swag,
Oh, it's so fresh. I mean,
right?
really stepping up your
So
game. I love
I
it.
know, right? So everybody has to watch the video to see the new hats. I've got a couple of options here. Hold on.
Yes, please.
So
That
yeah,
small
so I've
fashion
got
show.
yeah, exactly. So I've got the white with
Yep,
the
yep.
little golf guru on the side.
Off center is
I've
nice.
got
I mean, that's
I
very
know, right?
very
Yeah, this is
Soho New York
this
Fashion
is
Week of you.
yeah. It's kind of this one's a little it's kind of a little in your face. I got the camo, obviously, and
Hmm.
and then I've got a gray one. Thanks to my wife that
Oh yeah.
she got my son some with his logo on it, and then I was like, well, just let's see what it looks like. So I've been wearing a few, and the members kind of eat it up. It's pretty funny.
I mean,
So,
dude, if
anyways,
you're not gonna fly your own flag, who else is gonna fly your flag, right?
I
Like,
nobody, yeah, nobody apparently. Yeah, so I got a bone to pick with my listeners out there. But we'll get to that later. My so-called fans, but yeah. So the the gist of this, like the structure of this show, which could go any direction, which is the beauty of it, is we're going to bring some topics to the table. You got questions, so I'm not interviewing you; we're interviewing each other, and just kind of going through what's been going on. So there's a lot that's happened in the last year and a couple of months for both of us. But if you want to go ahead and start and share your big news, which is one of my questions that I was going to ask you, like tell us the big
yeah,
news.
you read the tea leaves pretty well. So I'm very very happy, and we feel very fortunate to be able to say my wife and I are expecting our first child. So we're very excited about that. Due August 30th at the moment. And the story I always tell about this is like I was telling family and coworkers that like things were going, we were progressing well, and everyone's first question was, well, which do you prefer, a boy or a girl? And I said
Mm-hmm.
every time I was like, like I'm great with whatever. Like I know I don't get to pick, so like I'm really happy with whatever happens, whatever we get to choose. And I always
Stock answer.
ended, yeah.
Everybody
But
says that.
I gave myself an out. I said, but ask me that question after I learn if it's a boy or a girl. You'll know whether I was lying to myself.
There you go. Yeah,
Guess
yeah,
what? I
well,
was lying to myself.
yeah. So you guys found out?
Yeah, yeah, we know it's a boy, which we're both very
Okay,
excited about.
that's awesome. That's awesome, man. Yeah, your life is getting ready to change in a really great and eventful way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody's like, you can't plan for this. You learn
Nope.
it, you figure it out. It's
No.
instinctual in so many ways, and like we're just so excited. We really
Yeah,
are.
it's. I mean, yeah, you can go ahead and read all the books you want and do all the history and studying you want. It doesn't help. you just gotta
Yeah.
you just
Plus,
gotta figure it out as you go along, man. It'll all work
yeah.
out.
Plus, I know myself, and like I know I learn by like physically doing. So like I'm not gonna go like
Yes.
buy a baby doll to like practice swaddling and practice changing on. Like that's a little too weird for me. I'm sorry. Maybe some
No.
people do that, but like
Yeah. There's
I'm gonna do it live. I mean, fuck it, we'll do it.
there's classes. We went to a few of the baby Lamaze classes and stuff. That kind of shit. But yeah, you just gotta dig in there. There's probably a YouTube video on it.
Oh yeah, I've gone down that rabbit hole for sure. There's plenty. There's a lot of stuff.
Oh my gosh. So what are you drinking tonight? Anything? I'm not drinking. I'm on the Tommy Morris for you Landman fans out there. I'm on the Ultra Seltzer,
Oh yes, so healthy.
which
I mean,
my wife says it's bullshit. Like you're still drinking. I'm like, no, this you know what I'm like on tequila.
yeah,
You can tell me the
you're
difference.
yeah, you're having Michelob's, but it's not a beer. You're hydrating. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Good
I
sweet
got
water.
to throw back to our our show, like you said, the first arbitrary show, I got some red wine here. So we made
Awesome.
steaks for
Yeah.
dinner,
I'm
put them on
so
the
happy for
grill,
you.
and then I like to wrap them in tinfoil after they're right before they're at like temp. So we had some nice
Perfect.
steaks with red wine. So we
You're
had a nice
doing
little evening before I jumped on with you.
you're doing way better than me. So do you want to start? I mean, we can, again, we could sort of recap,
Yes. Yeah.
from our last show. We talked, I can go into, all the really unbelievable stuff that happened to me in the last year, which everybody probably already knows. But I want to have you start with your list.
Well, I actually think that our starting places are the same. You have done a better job over the time I've known you about like talking about the things that you do that have a positive impact on your peers. So I'd like you to talk about the two awards that you've won kind of since we've had that arbitrary show. Um, and like we'll kind of spend some time on that a little bit. Like talked about why you think you were recognized, like what got you to
Mm,
those moments in time. Because
okay.
I'm a big proponent of awards are a recognition for all of the work you did before you got the award, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not always readily apparent and obvious what happened to get you to the moment of being recognized. So why don't we start there?
Yeah. I mean, it's really just the one award. Which one? The Golf Professional of the Year award was the big one. Did I win another one?
Yeah, I was talking about the Strasbourg Award. I was kind of
Oh,
bundling
that
that
was
and the
yeah.
yeah.
That was last.
Yes,
That was last year. Yeah. So the Golf Professional of the Year award was super special because of basically what you said. Which it was more not just what I've done in the last year. It's more of my entire career, right? So, and it was even more special the fact that I was the first teaching pro to win the award in our section. Because it's typically a golf or a director of golf or head professional type award, right? So it's sort of wrapped around 1 year service to the section, which I've tried to do with been on the teaching and coaching committee for since its inception, and now I'm the chairman in the last year, and into my second year of my term. So just giving back, in that way, providing and running uh, teaching workshops and opportunities for education. And then the second part was really mentoring and giving back to other young professionals over the years. And I don't know if anybody wants to go back and look. My son videoed my speech. Which was, by the way, one of the hardest speeches I've ever delivered. For a 13-minute speech, I really, since I got the news, which was probably November, I guess, last year, I was just super stressed. You can ask my wife; she was about to divorce me because she's like, "You're just absolutely out of your mind." Because I just wanted, it meant so much to me for one, and two, I just wanted to do a good job,
and
and I knew it was going to be
13 minutes
emotional.
is not that long in the grand scheme of things.
No, yeah, it's and I get a little long. They give you like 3 minutes for the other speeches, and they said I told the director, and he's like, "You can take more time than that, obviously, because this is like the big award." But and I practiced it and never got through it without crying, even to myself, like to a camera. Like I filmed myself doing it, rewrote it, and it was one of. And I sort of I did it more out of character in the way I give speeches or talks to golfers and golf professionals when I do workshops, which I usually do just bullet points and slides and just because I just know the material so much better. I wanted to make sure I didn't leave anything out, and um, just because this is going to be an open conversation, I dug deep into like every YouTube speech of like graduation speeches from famous people, and I really loved. Have you ever seen the Steve Jobs graduation
Yeah,
speech? Yeah, that I sort of tailored it around that structure. I thought that was super cool because he basically said, "I'm going to tell you 3 stories about my life that impacted me," and that's the way I did it. So I just kind of opened up and thanked, the people and the sponsors and whatnot. And I said, I'm going to tell you 3 stories that impacted my life and my career, and it was all just giving honor to the people that helped me along the way, which was when I met my wife, when we got married, my mentor, Dana Rader, and then I talked about my biggest failure, which was basically losing my job as a head professional, which pushed me into um, teaching full time. So it was like one of the hardest moments of my life that led to one of the greatest moments of my life, which is working for Dana and really started, kick-started my career. So I just basically, did that and talked about leaving a legacy and the importance of why I do what I do and to show up in as many testimonials as I can, which means I affected other people in a positive way. And, it was super cool. And I got to, the hard part is because they open it up with, you give them 3 or 4 people that are important to you and they interview them and they say nice things and they don't show you the video prior. And that video is on my YouTube channel as well. And that was really, really special. But I'm like half in tears by the time I get to the stage because I'm just listening, to some of my great friends and that said nice things. So it was a really, really difficult thing to do. And I mean, obviously, super honored, but I think I'm done winning awards now. I've won pretty much all the ones I can in the section. But yeah, it was just. I mean, it's something. It's a night I'll never forget for sure.
Rightfully so. I mean, there's just so much to be. I mean, it's a career's worth of culmination, effectively.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into that. What do you think is like some of the bigger takeaways for like see you, watch you, accept that award, and think, oh well, I can't attain that. I can't achieve that. I don't have the opportunities. That's not me. I'm not that person. Like, what do you think you could speak
Yeah,
to those people?
it's a great question. I mean, because I wanted to inspire other people to think because that was never on my radar. That that award was never on my radar until some of my great friends started recognizing me and nominating me for the award a few years ago. I've been nominated a couple times and been sort of shut out because of the misnomer of like teaching pro can't win this award, and finally just kind of got over the hurdle. But just hopefully inspire other people to do more. And I'm nothing special. I just work hard and try to do the best I can. But I think the the important message that I had in my speech was, and I think we may have talked about it a little bit in our last arbitrary show, was when I started sort of flipping the switch of it's not about me and the ego, it's about other people and helping other people. As soon as I sort of switched that mindset, which was when I was about 30 years old, starting to work for Dana, and she definitely instilled that in me. My whole life changed, and then it's like you don't do nice things for other people to get things back, but it tends to go both directions, right? So then started winning awards and getting on lists and stuff. It didn't mean as much to me, but the fact that when people start mentioning you and their talks, like my goal is like somebody to win it and say, hey, this guy inspired me to do a little bit better, and that's why I'm here today. I want to be the day narrator to somebody else's speech.
Yeah, I mean, the part that I'm that I heard like unequivocally there is like the irony of the second that you start to do things for anyone like but yourself is are the moments after where you start to get recognition of you personally.
Yeah.
It's like normally that like doesn't make sense.
Sure. Yeah.
Because like then you receive awards and you're like, well, it would have mattered to the old me, but the old me
Yes.
wasn't probably worthy or wasn't prepared or wasn't doing it for the right
Yeah.
reasons. It's
Exactly
like
right. Yeah.
it's very interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of things you learn as you go along in life, and you sort of pay attention. And again, it was all I talked a lot about my personal development journey with Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins and some, these Zig Ziglar. And that was, always, I left the speech with my quote, if you can do enough things for other people, you can have everything you want in life, which Zig Ziglar said. And again, it's not in the selfish way at all. It's just doing the right thing, you know, brings joy to both parties, right? It's like, it makes me happy to see when I help somebody else and I see them do well and reach their goals. It makes me, happy inside for doing that. And it's like a mentor, as like we talked about with mentoring, is a two-way street, right? It's like you got to have a willing mentee, and then I learn from that person because I'm teaching them, right? So the more you when you learn, and I'm always really excited when I learn something new, regardless. And we'll go through our list of stuff, which could be golf, could be life, could be fitness, could be mental stuff. It's like I'm excited to like share that with somebody else, right? And it's a two way avenue.
Yeah, because you also get the opportunity to try to voice like physically and verbally
Mm-hmm.
what you have learned. That's different than like reading something again and not speaking it or communicating to anyone else but yourself. You can have conversations in your head all day long and convince yourself
Yeah.
that you've become an expert on something, but the second that you have to go try to talk it physically to somebody else, engage in a conversation, have a back and forth on question and answer, be able to like communicate something, is then reading a book and thinking you've become an expert, or
Yeah.
watching a YouTube video and thinking you've become an expert.
Yeah.
The
I mean, that's
practice
what,
of it is the
yeah,
art.
it's exactly, and that's what Jim Rohn always says: study, practice, teach, right? Study something, practice it, put it into your own life, and then teach somebody else. I mean, that's the flow I think of in the evolution of learning and growing and sharing together. You can't do anything by yourself, right? It's like I mentioned in my speech, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, right? It's like the people, all the teachers and the mentors that I've had in my life prior to today is like why I'm here. I could never do, or you could never do what you do alone, right? And I'm sure you have plenty of people in your life that way as well.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's really easy to think that like you you're a you're a solo ship and like solo captain, but like
Nope.
it's really, the truth is there's just so many things that go into all of our lives that it's a group effort. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And your point about Jim Rohn, where he talks about study, practice, teach. It's the same philosophy with business. Like you need to be studying your consumers, studying your market, studying your opportunity. Practice, which is putting things into play, putting things
Yeah.
into reality, which you probably are scared of, and they're half baked, or at least they're somewhere near half baked. Like there's never 100% certainty before you can try something in like the world with real consumers, real customers, real users. And then the teaching part of that is, well, you're teaching yourself, like, or your customers or consumers are teaching you, and you
Right.
iterate and you rinse and repeat that process over and over again. It's the same thing in business for sure.
Yeah. I kind of break, like when I reflect on my career, I look back and it's like three phases. Like when I first got, fired up about teaching, when I started teaching full time, which was probably like late 20s, early 30s, it was all about just getting as much knowledge and information as I could, right? I couldn't get enough of it, but didn't necessarily know how to administer that to a student or to a golf lesson per se, but you just keep kind of ingesting. And then the second half of my career, which I was like in my 40s, I felt like that was my action phase, right? So I was like, okay, now you're good enough to like help some people or start a new venture or do whatever. And that's when social media, it was probably a little bit before that, but social media kind of got going big, and we all started posting on Twitter and X, blog posts, writing a lot, really doing a lot of stuff and putting it into action, and then really starting to build your skills And then now this last phase or third phase, hopefully not the last phase, is more of like giving back more to other people and mentoring and the teaching phase.
Yeah, and I get, if I was a listener and I'd be thinking, and I was like new to my career, early in my career, the thing that I would probably hear or think to myself after hearing what you just said is, well, like I need that faster. Like I need to get to phase
Yeah,
two faster.
yeah,
I should be there earlier. I should be there now. And like that's a there's like a couple death traps in that. It's like one, comparing yourself to others is the first death trap that we all fall in because most of us are competitive. Social media sure doesn't help, but like you're in a competition with yourself and yourself only. And like there are other people that are in this competition with you, this market, this arena with you. But at the end of the day, like you are the one that you need to be comparing yourself to, thinking about how do you make this enriching and enlivening for yourself. And then the other part of that is, well, if you really think you can get there sooner, like there really isn't a way to trim time. Like I don't know of anybody who's been able to like you know go 15 years in advance. The only way you get there
yeah,
faster is if you started sooner. And
yeah,
like the people who are like they say, or like they might be some savant, maybe some like really young gun who's like really good or see really good. If you probably uncover and you pull away a couple layers, like there's some gaps there, just like anybody would. Like
yeah.
timing and time under tension, time in the arena is something you cannot short circuit.
No experience like that. One of my friends said on the podcast a while ago and said there's no certification for experience. And I got a shout out. I know you know this guy, Gary Vaynerchuk, like
Oh yeah.
completely flipped my life too when social media sort of got hot, like 2008, 2009, when I found him, and he started Wine Library TV, started, doing all his videos and the blog and I read his book Crush It, which he's put out 3 books, which are all great. But like that inspired me to like, okay, here's the blueprint of like building a brand, like getting your presence out there, getting your message out there. But yeah, you can't. I mean, the reason I bring him up is he stresses patience, right? And like the young people now, that the people that are in their 20s, I always say I was about 8 years behind because the first 8 years of my career, I feel like all I did was mess around and like I didn't really have any direction, which a lot of people do. But
Sure.
you look back, and you say, oh, do you have any regrets? And I'm like, yeah, I wish I would have started what I did at 30, at 22, even though I was in the business. I didn't really, it was just the way it was. I didn't have anybody around me
Hmm.
to inspire me. But yeah, it's patience is something. He gets all those questions from young kids now, and he's about my age probably now, or a little bit younger. But it's like when you're 40, like you feel like you've missed out on all this stuff. You're just getting going, man. It's like and you're way ahead of the game. Like that's why I love our relationship, because you're coming from you're 20 years younger than me, and I'm watching you grow and watching you get better. And I think it's such a cool, different lens and different perspective that we're both looking at life at.
Oh yeah, dude. I think I've said this to you before. When my wife, she's heard me say it 1,000 times. She's kind of sick of it at this point, but it's something I live my life by. Like we all are the average of the 5 people we spend most of our time
Mm-hmm.
with, and you do have an opportunity to consciously choose who those 5 people are. And I will also say, friends, acquaintances, relationships are across a lifetime are a lot like seasons. It's there are very few people, I believe, in our any human life where you know them for the vast majority of the time that we get to go around on this merry-go-round of called Earth. Uh, there are plenty of people who come in life over a tranche of that time and are very important, very impactful. Both of you got a lot out of it, but like a season though does end eventually. Um, and like that's what I always think is so interesting about, like, yes, it's only 5 people that can probably influence you that much at a given time, but the beauty of it is that those 5 will change and alter
Yeah,
and grow over time. And of like being open to partnerships, relationships, mentor mentee, And like the best people I think the most fulfilled people are the ones that are like open to understanding that learning and opportunity and growth can come from anywhere or anyone at any given moment. You just have to make sure the walls are down and allow for that opportunity to present itself to you.
Absolutely. So, you got any more questions, or are you gonna go to some of your topics? Do you have anything like
I
what's
do.
going on in your life? Like, yeah,
I
get
have one more
into
for you.
what's happening with you. It's not okay. All right.
One more for
'Cause I
you.
don't want this
Sorry.
to be all about me.
No, hey,
We got a lot to
this
cover.
is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got time.
Yep.
So I think I want you to get a little. I want you to get a couple layers deep here. So one could argue, and you've already made the comment, which I do think you truly mean, but maybe I'm taking it to face value that like you're done winning awards. Like someone could think, oh, since hit his peak, like he's at the peak, he's it can't get better. So like
I hope not.
well, so what matters to you? And I'm not saying awards did matter to you. I don't think they did, but like
No.
what matters to you now? What drives you now? What are the things that continue to give you passion and purpose at the point where like someone from the outside could say, "Oh, well, he's kind of hit his peak."
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, I mean, as far as awards go, I mean, the only one that would actually matter now would be like National Teacher of the Year, which my good friend Jason Bale just won this past year, which was awesome. Um, Aside from that, again, and that's not defining my career, but I mean, I don't know. That's a tough one to answer. I mean, I really, you find your niches, I think, in whatever business you're in, and I really, and everybody says this, but I really enjoy working with high level players and seeing them get better. I've luckily picked up a few more, tour players, mini tour guys. But I mean, really enjoy what are working with like the college kids and even the juniors that I've got that I work with. Not that I don't love my members, but it's just you kind of you gravitate towards what you feel like you're the best at. So I would, I mean, I'll, again, throwing things out in the universe like we did, a year and a half ago. We talked about, I said I would love to do a little bit more speaking, and again, I
You
don't know
sure
how it
did.
happened, but right,
You went
I
on a
ended,
crazy speaking tour right away,
right.
almost.
So I was fortunate to speak to like 5 or 6 different sections, around the country, which was super cool. So just throwing it out there that I would love a few more tour players, maybe travel a little bit more on tour. I don't want to travel, every week like a lot of the guys out there do, but I enjoy it. Like I enjoy the coaching part of that. I enjoy the, making decisions on the fly, tournament week. I enjoy the prep, and I think I'm really good at it. I think I can help a lot of folks out there if somebody's looking for another coach. But yeah, I mean it's a tough deal, man. You got to continue to challenge yourself, and we've talked before in the past about when you reach a goal, like you got to have a backup goal, right? It's like
Hmm,
I'm kind of in that little bit of phase of like, okay, I want to relax a touch, not like
that's fair.
right. It's not like too much, but it was night like I just built up to that awards night. And then after that, I was like, okay, what do I got next? It's like
Hmm.
I tend to get too many balls in the air a lot of times, which I get overwhelmed. But it's my problem because I ask. I mean, it's a it's a privilege to get to speak to other sections and workshops. I do have the Low Country workshop that you were sponsored last year, or how we met, or was it 2 years ago?
Yep. I think it was
Two
two
years
years ago
ago.
at this point. Yep.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah, when it was my place. We got that coming up in June, which I'm real excited about. So that's kind of, and I'm doing my chairman work on the
Nice.
teaching committee, right? So we're working on the fall summit and big week for next year. Like so, it's still all that stuff sort of is on my radar. But yeah, I'll give you the rundown this year. We got I got the dew sweeper coming in. I got Tony Rosario, my good
Okay.
buddy, which is going to be cool. John Dunnigan from up in the Philly section, absolute rock star coach. I'm bringing in some local talent. Rob Stokey that teaches at Long Cove, good buddy of mine, wanted to get him involved in some section stuff and speaking. And then Krista Dunton, my good friend at Berkeley, that me and her sort of co-host this every year. We go back and forth. It's at my place again this year at Carlton River, so I'm really excited for that. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to pin one thing. I mean, all I know is I'm still very excited and very passionate to get out of bed in the morning and go help my members.
There we go.
Get better, and then just always looking for avenues of good players to come seek my counsel.
Well, so I think I think the
Why
part
not?
that I want to dive into further is you're actively seeking more high pressure situations to test you and yourself and your players by
Yeah.
asking for higher quality players because they will be in higher quality competition, more
Hmm.
leveraged opportunities for their career. Um, that is like I think at that point of anyone's career or arc of athletic career, that becomes like an addicting, like a very good addicting ladder because it continues. Like pressure creates diamonds. Like all of that is a positive. You're actively seeking out those types of opportunities. That is a I don't think that should be glossed over. Like that's a very important part of continuing to press yourself when public scale it might seem like you've peaked, but truly like there are far more other ways that you prefer to continue to expand and grow and add value.
Yeah, I mean, and I can't honestly. I almost have to ask somebody else that question that knows me. Like Steve Moore is great. I mean, Shamrocks and Shanks. Shout
Yep.
out to Steve Moore.
Yep.
Great podcast. Good coach. When we were talking last year when I was going through the awards thing and then picking up a couple more players or whatever, and he's like, I feel like you're just on the bottom rung of like a really long ladder because we've known each other for 3 or 4 years or whatever. And I was like, I hope you're right. I mean, it's never too late, and for whatever age you are to kind of get out there. But and it's not easy. Like it's not like I'm not asking for that because it's easier. I think it can be a lot of times harder because we're making very big decisions for players that are playing for their livelihood, and I don't take that for granted. And the guys that have stuck with me, and I've gotten fired I've gotten fired a few times in the last year, with some kind of big guys, and it's just part of the deal. And I think that's
Hmm.
where I've matured a lot as well. Is like relationships are going to end for whatever reason, and it just happens. So I used to take it a lot more personal, even though I don't love it because I always kind of look at like what did I do wrong, but it's just part of our industry. Guys are switching coaches all the time, and
Right.
but yeah, and then you find the right match, and both of you can sort of grow together, which I think is the fun part about it.
Yeah, and like look, if you those moments of like hardship or um like could turn into regret, those are the things that you learn the most from.
Yeah,
And it's a privilege to be able to get fired because
right.
that
It's a good
means
way to
you've
look at it.
gotten to some really tough places, to some really difficult spots, and like you would never in a million years have gotten those experiences, those learned opportunities, those uh, emotions, the feelings like of being in the pressure, but then also knowing what it feels like at the end of it and the downside, like the struggle of those difficulties. You can't manufacture those opportunities other than being in the arena
Yeah,
and having those moments. There's no shorter way around it than doing it.
yeah. It just makes you better. I mean, again, if you kind of dig deep and reflect on, I'm always second guessing myself. What would I've done differently? What happened? sometimes, and then you have to kind of cut it loose because it'll eat you up
Oh
if not.
yeah.
Because it's kind of
Well,
happened to
dude,
recently,
it's a frame
but
of reference.
it's all good. Yeah,
If you change the frame of reference from second guessing yourself to I'm looking to improve myself,
yeah,
then it's a very healthy relationship with the moment and the opportunity and the learning moment there. But it's very easy to think that you're second guessing yourself.
yeah.
So,
So what else
while we're
you
kind
got?
of on the topic of like high end players, what's your take on the impact of NIL and golf at the collegiate level?
Um, it's a good question. I mean, I can see both sides. I think it's a good thing. I think the college players probably should have been paid a long time ago. Just for, I mean, you can look at all sports. I mean, I know it's huge in football. And these kids are making millions of dollars. I mean, was it Arch Manning's making over a million and sitting on the bench,
Hmm.
right? I mean, I think it's a good thing, but I think it's become a little bit of a problem because um, and I can sort of say this in sort of both sides because my son went in the portal, but I think then the portal becomes a problem because kids are getting lured into other programs, right? And then golf is golf's a little different. I mean, there's some kids making some good. I mean, Luke Clanton's, I don't know what he's making, a lot before he even turns pro, which he deserves it. I mean, he's the number one amateur in the world. He's done. I mean, he's played in how many tour events already, and um, but I don't know. I think it's maybe gone a little bit over the edge in the fact that these kids are just making too much, But I think they should get paid something, like they're bringing all this money in, especially on the football side, and maybe in
Hmm.
basketball. But they're bringing all this money into the college, into the universities, and if they can't afford to live, back in the day before NIL, that's a problem. So I don't know what's your take on it from the outside.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to see how the NCAA as an organizing body was taking advantage of. They never called them employees, but they were, let's just call them business assets. Like if we think about it
Yeah,
that way, like they had a business asset that they had no cost on top of. And like they're people that in any other world, any other business, you pay those people because they're either employees or they're contractors, and like they are paid because they're not indentured servants. They're not slaves. Like that's just how
right.
the real world works. So like it's just it's wild actually to think about that. Like the NCAA was able to create an environment for so long that allowed this perception to hold. Um, and it really became obviously a problem when like the NCAA tournament started making all this money for sponsorships, and CBS started paying all these crazy high dollar bills for their TV rights deals.
Mm-hmm.
That and thank God that stuff was public because it started to really make it put quantifiable information on what people probably felt for a while but didn't know how to prove or validate. Um, I agree it's the right thing. I don't know how much is too much. I don't know how much is too
Yeah,
little. What I do know for sure though is like there's got to be a little bit more stability, allowing someone to go into a portal, any sport, before the sport's over. Like NCAA football players were in the portal before the championship game was done. Basketball players were in the portal before the NCAA
yeah,
tournament was
I hate
over.
that.
Like
Yeah.
that's wild. And like there's no,
Mm-hmm.
you could do 1 year or less. Like
Yeah.
pro teams have 1 year contracts, and like that's a known agreement that you're signing up for a 1 year contract, and you sign a dotted line on a piece of paper. You're bought in, but like there's no term contracts. It's got to be hard for coaches. It's got to be impossible for
Yeah.
schools to plan. So like I appreciate also the other side of this is like I do appreciate the NCAA is allowing like this like free market concept to like let its thing work itself out in the real world so they can see what to change and evolve. And I'm glad that they didn't like start with a whole bunch of um, guides or rules or this is how you have to do it. Like they need to see
Yeah,
how it
it's
works in
free for all.
reality. So the
Yeah,
free for all allows you to figure out what works and what definitely doesn't. So it's a
right.
good place to start. It
Maybe they
will
put a
change. It
limit
has
on
to.
it. Yeah, maybe they put a limit on
Yeah.
how much the kids can make or how much they can acquire. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know the answer,
Or
but yeah, there's got to
for
be a
me,
little bit of.
my only request is just like contract time, like commit to something. And then if the player wants to commit to 1 year, that's fine. That's known. Like you can plan around that
Yeah.
as like any other general manager would do with a pro sports team. What I also think is interesting, universities are hiring general managers now. We're basically just
Mm,
a rinse and repeat of what the pro sports leagues
yeah.
are doing.
Well, it's got to be a
It's very
nightmare
interesting.
for coaches to recruit, right? It's like they don't know when kids are going to leave, if they're going to stay, are they going to transfer. You
Yep.
know, if they're not happy, they can get in the portal and go somewhere and hopefully play. It's yeah, it's well. The reason I said that was kind of a double edged sword because my son went in the portal and did that very thing, which was great for him. But yeah, I can see where it can definitely get out of hand, and it probably already has.
Well, I mean, to that point, this Tennessee quarterback who was trying to leverage University of Tennessee for more money, he went to the portal and got like half. So like, there's
Nico
real
did?
consequences. Yeah, I think. Yeah,
Did he really? Holy cow! Is he leaving?
yeah. He was trying to leverage Tennessee, I think, into a $4 million deal. They called his bluff. He went to the portal. I think he's going to get like I don't know 2 to 2.5.
Oh my gosh, I did not know he was leaving.
Yeah,
Hmm.
he
Nico.
played his cards wrong there.
Yeah, he did. Definitely should have stayed.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got?
So I think that an interesting topic might be there's just the topic of AI. And we can definitely talk about this first in relation to golf. But there's also some very interesting threads that are maybe just more general and like not specific to golf. So um, do you see any of this in your day to day yet?
Um. Oh yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, there's apps coming out, and I think eventually there's already a screening app. Tom Stickney was sharing it with me. I can't remember the exact name of the company, but basically, you just film somebody and you go into the to the AI system and it basically screens your mobility. It's like like a TPI screen
Uh-huh.
and tells you like your limitations. So, things are just getting quicker and quicker in that respect, which could be super valuable. I mean, obviously Sportsbox AI, these apps now, motion to coach. I'm not sure that's AI, but it's a form of AI, right? So when you can basically take a video of somebody with your phone and they can spit out all this information of how you're moving and give you data behind it and be pretty darn accurate, that's that's the direction we're going for instruction. There's no doubt about it. And I'm looking into motion to coach right now, of possibly bringing it in as another
Well,
diagnostic tool for me.
so you touched on something I think that is really important and shouldn't get glossed over. The way that I believe you just set that up is you're seeing AI related services as an additional way to improve the service, aka also the value you provide to your players. It's not replacing you.
No, no, I don't think it's ever going to replace the human interaction. Um, but if you look at technology and how it's evolved in the last 20 years, I mean, since just better video or better video cameras to now radar to now, you know, AMM and then force plates, we can measure we can measure everything. I mean, we can say we can't measure the brain. Focus band, sort of trying to measure the brain, but we can measure pretty much everything that we do. So I think what AI does, and I use AI on my phone all the time. If I'm writing something, or I just ask it. It's almost replaced Google for me. I
Yep.
use AI assists. It's just helping us get to the answers quicker, the solutions quicker, for our players or for ourselves. How are you using it? I
Yeah.
know you're getting into it. Like, talk about your business. Talk about your what you're developing now and how that's been useful for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I do feel very fortunate that I talk about and experience and like get past just talking. Like I get to brainstorm, we get to solution some things with my day job and like to think about how this applies to the real world. This is and then apply it to the real world. Like there's much more than just theory involved in kind of the journey I've been on recently. The thing I'll start with is um, AI is just another technology. It's just another technology, just like the printing press was a technology way back when, just like sliced bread was a technology introduced that helped civilization expand and grow and prosper. Uh, there's no difference in the simplest form of AI and its ability to add value, enhance life. Um, yes, people use technology for good and bad. It's up to free markets, it's up to good actors, it's up to um, all of us to help expand the use of it in a proper way. Um, and that's also to say that like the cat's out the bag. Like
Yes, it
there's just
is.
no other way to put it.
No, no, it's
So
coming.
like
Like,
yeah,
get embrace it, or like, get out of the way or get left behind.
exactly. And
Right?
like
Yeah,
that's my theory is like if anyone was to tell me that they genuinely took an opportunity to figure out if AI could help improve their business or improve their players or increase the value that they have as a person or a business, and they experienced that value or improvement or leverage AI provides, and at that point said, you know what, my principles are so strong that I'm not going to use AI, then okay, congratulations. I think you're probably lying to yourself because
yeah,
at the end of the day, like everyone, 99% of other people will use AI, which means free market takes over, innovation takes over, thought leadership takes over, and like you're the laggard. You're going to be the one or the one of 100 people that don't use the service or tool. Um, then your principles are awfully strong, or your ego's in the way and you're not capable of thinking that this
yeah,
does help you or your people in a way, then like there's another thing there that we need to think about and talk about. But the truth is this has the ability to add value in so many ways. We're just trying to figure out what are those ways. It's and that's just the way free markets and innovation work. As things are successful, people grab on. As those are successful, things expand, and like more application, more use, more applicability follows. um, that's just the nature of humans. Like that's just how anything has gone over the lifeline in civilization.
right.
uh, so like you can either figure it out and like get good with it to a degree, or you could just not and like have your head in the sand the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, are people in your business nervous about AI, like replacing jobs? Because that seems to be the talk.
No, no.
Okay, yeah. I
The
mean, the smart ones are
the
probably
truth
not, right?
is right. This is the thing.
Yeah,
The human brain is incredibly good at connecting two very disparate, never would have thought about thoughts, ideas, concepts. Like that is our superpower. And so far, AI is not close to doing that. AI needs a very specific prompt. AI needs very specific directions.
yeah,
AI needs a document that says, this is it, read this, do that. So far, AI has not figured that out. And when you think about like how to build apps, code, products, those kinds of things. Like you have to think, you have to talk to consumers, you have to build product roadmaps that mesh what a consumer needs, aka value statements, which is inherent, build something and consistently iterate that thing. Like the process of all of that together cannot be done with AI in its current form, function, and version. What we think is going to be possible within AI for like building things in IT is one person will increase their efficiency and their effectiveness like multitudes more than they are today. There's this concept of like when you get a really good engineer, that engineer is like a 10x engineer. They're worth 10 total people. So today, if one really, really good engineer could, sir, with AI in the right place, use the right ways to do the right things, that person could be a 50xer, a 60xer, a 100xer, a 300xer. And to a business, that means you get better products out faster, you increase cycle time to improve those products, which means you're outpacing your competition, which means that you're providing more value to your customers, which means that you're probably making way money.
Yeah,
So
it's a win-win for everybody.
Exactly right. And it's like you're not, and most customers would say, like most businesses today would say, I don't think I need less people. I need more people, and I need more people to do more work effectively. There's always a shortage of people in code app building. There's never enough people ever. So like to think that you can 10x and 50x and 100x one person is magnitudes of value back to a business. And if you think about how that then trickles down to owning stock as a public company in that perspective, as a shareholder to businesses that take advantage of that stuff, then your cost per share goes through the roof. That means that their stocks can go through the roof. And that means you're going to make a lot of money as a stock owner of it.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is it's saving people time and almost multiplying, productivity of what one person can do if they understand AI and understand how to use it
Mm-hmm.
in their business or in their job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
same way in teaching. Yeah.
yeah. I guess to simplify it is to say is like, if you had the opportunity personally to multiply yourself 20 times over, you would do it 10 out of
Yeah.
10 times.
Yeah. I'm gonna clone myself. You watching Black Mirror, by the way?
Not yet, but I've heard some of it's awfully close to reality
It's
right now.
yeah, they're cloning people. That's basically what we need. We need to clone more people and put them to work.
Yeah,
If they can do the same
okay,
thing.
you could bring ethics into this and say, oh, that's not right. But like the truth is, if it was valuable enough, everybody would do it. Like you can't argue against that.
Yeah, it just makes me think. It's kind of like if people out there watch as much Netflix as I do. Yeah, with Black Mirror, it's one of the shows is basically like Star Trek. It's like the future of golf instruction is your student walks into the room, walks into a little helipad, and then you just basically do a 360 scan and it puts out all this information about how they move, their limitations, their body, and their brain. And then you've culminated, you know, probably 2 weeks worth of data into 10 minutes. Like, how good would that be, right? I mean, again, it's just saving. I mean, all we're doing is trying to save time for us and our clients and our customers. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like a golfer cares about probably, I don't know, one or two things. I want to suck less, and I want to suck less sooner.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
however you
yeah.
can reduce
Make me
my
better
time.
faster. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear I got to hit 1,000 balls. I want you to do me,
No.
make me better in 10 golf balls. That would be great. I mean,
Exactly.
that's
Right.
like back to the young people that are impatient. Like, it's no different.
Yeah. So like if
I love it.
AI could do that for a golf coach at a reasonable price,
Yeah.
and hey, it actually doesn't have to be reasonable. There's people who would pay crazy amounts of money for something like that. If
Yeah.
AI could do that for somebody, a golf coach would be silly not to try to work with it to figure it out to like make your business better, make you stand out, make you deliver a better service. It's just that's
Yeah.
just not how it works in the game of free market economy.
100%. Yeah, I mean, that's what you're trying to do, right? And there's a listener question about that very topic for you that's coming up at the end when we
Oh, okay.
do the mailbag. But do we want to switch gears to life hacks, or do you got anything else? What's
Yeah, we
going
could
on?
switch
Anything?
gears.
Yeah, like anything going on in your world? I had I got a ton of notes, which I always do, but um, I think I talked about teaching upgrades, which I'm getting ready to upgrade my bay a little bit. We're getting new computers, new TVs, just kind of updating everything. Um, I've got Smart to Move already. We're getting a mat to like sync the Smart to Move into the mat, which is going to be cool. And I'm getting a GC quad. So just again, just arming yourself with other measuring tools. Not that I don't love TrackMan,
Well,
but
so
it's nice to
to the
have a little
benefit
bit
of
extra.
your coaches that are listening, like when you think about making these improvements, adding new tools, like what are the things you consider? What's the criteria?
Just more efficiency, right? It's like my TVs are too old. I want to be able to like they're old enough to where I can't mirror my iPad to the TV, which bugs me because that's how I use Smart to Move. So when I get somebody on the plates, I've got to have a big cord. So I'm like trying to do my best to like eliminate cords,
Hmm.
eliminate clutter, make it cleaner, just make it more streamlined. And again, just like we're talking about, just make it quicker to assess my players. It's like that's it's all about time. It's all about saving time. I think for
Well, and
everything.
you had Smart to Move on the pod. I think it was
Hmm.
sometime late last year. Like, what have
Yeah.
you learned now that you've basically become a power user of the tool? Like, what have you learned that adds value?
I mean, so much. I mean, I think the big thing you just sort of break through misnomers that like, oh, you just put good players on plates like that, and it's not the case. I mean, I'm putting most of my members on the plates because I just love the live feature of being able to get real time biofeedback from just pressure, whether it's setup and then how they move, and you can start to train people to move differently because they can see it right in front of them on the TV, and it's been super effective. Yeah, for me. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't want to dig into all the like nerdy stuff, tonight, but I mean, yeah, I learn something all the time. It's like there's not one pattern that works. I mean, it's just stuff we kind of already know, but it again, it saves us time. It's a great diagnostic tool. Shout out to Tyler and Smart to Move has been great to me, and um, and I like their product just because it's really really easy to use. Again, it's like you don't want something that's complicated, right? Going back to the AI thing, it's like getting, and it's not a 3D system as far as like body movement, but we don't want to have to take time to hook people up to stuff,
Yeah.
right? We want to be able to like do it quickly with a phone or whatever, and um, it's really really simple to use. So yeah, I mean it's just been another addition to